Welcome back. Today on Jessica's episode of Jessica is Very Indecisive, we are going to be making some journal covers with the coquette theme. If you don't know what coquette theme is, it's like very charming, feminine, lots of pastels and bows, and just very pretty. Shabby chic, I think, is honestly another word. And I am making these for my Patreon members for February. I think there's some open spots, and actually now's a great time to sign up because you won't get charged like double. It's a perfect time. So go grab a spot if you like these. Now, I'm saying I'm indecisive because a few weeks ago I started prototyping this journal, which was going to be what I made for February's journal. Well, I started making these and some of the wallpaper is just really like bubbling up weird, and I just didn't feel like it was like good enough to be sending to Patreon members. So since I already made some of these, I probably will put them on my website, and I'm almost 100% certain that all of my members will be just as happy, if not happier, with something like this. Now, all of the fabric's going to be a little bit different, but we're going to have these fun little frame windows. And look at the little bow. So, yep, for this episode, we're just going to make the journal cover and we're going to get started. For your supplies, you are going to need some heavy cardstock. You are going to need some fabric or wallpaper to cover, and then some type of frames. And if you don't have frames in your collection, you can honestly use some cardstock or die cuts to make something similar. I have a nice variety to choose from. And then anything that you want to decorate. This was my mood board for February for Patreon, and I feel like the journal definitely fits with what I have in mind. And I just wanted to show that. And later this week, I will be working on the other things that will be sent in the journal pack. So stay tuned and catch my lives. And we are going to get started. And I think I'm going to go with this fabric. I feel that is the one calling my name today. This is an 8.5 by 11 paper. It's actually super heavy. I think it's 110-pound cardstock. And I'm going to simply fold it in half. You can have this be a no-sew journal, and I mean, this is very beginner friendly, I would say, especially for a journal that has a window. But I probably will add some sewing detail to mine. I just like to fold it in half so I can get an idea of where it folds. And then I'm just gonna kind of figure out what placement I want for my fabric. This doesn't have too many wrinkles, so I won't be ironing this. And then I'm going to use my PVA neutral glue. And I'm just gonna get started by gluing the cover. I don't find that this bubbles too much. However, I still always like to spread my glue out, making sure that I'm definitely getting the edges. And this glue dries so quick, so there's a little hair in there, and I feel like that could show through. Okay, I'm gonna do one final little, since it does dry quick and I just took forever to get that hair off, just one extra glob around that. This is very messy. I'm just going to actually place my fabric down onto, my paper down onto the fabric. Also, if you're new, leave me a comment down below. So many new subscribers. I just want to be able to heart your comment and let you know that I saw it. Just going to smooth that out. I think you can even see on camera that there are no bubbles. It's nice and smooth, which is why I love this glue. I was having issues with my absolute all-time forever love glue, which was Tombow Mono Aqua, and I still love it, but for fabric to paper, this definitely wins. It's just that it dries so fast. That's the only thing that makes it a little bit hard for me, because especially with filming, I'm not always moving as quick as I want, but I'm always still smoothing it out just to be sure. you get a little wrinkle because of the placement, just quickly grab it up and smooth it back out. Okay. And then I'm just going to trim the excess around, leaving about 1 inch all the way around, and then cutting all of the corners at an angle, just kind of like this. And I will be saving the rest of the fabric scraps. I'm just ripping that so I can save it for later. Apologies if you can hear children screaming or crying outside. We just had like a hailstorm and there's like a lot of kids outside. So anyways, I'm gonna add glue all the way around the edge, just like that. You don't really have to smooth this part out because it's on the inside, but I am just going to wrap this around, just making sure it grabs onto the glue. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. Okay. I'm so excited that I came in the craft room today to play around because I was trying to make those wallpaper journals work, and I found some other wallpaper prints that I thought could work, but like I said, it just wasn't feeling like up to my standard. Yeah, I felt like I was just kind of settling with it, and I never want to do that. I want to be just as excited as you are when you are going to be getting especially one of my journals in the mail. And these, I'm like so excited. Like, I know if I want to keep one, then I feel like that makes me, that tells me that I am happy with it. Okay, I'm just going to let this dry. Now we have to decide which frame to use. Now, luckily, I'm making like 20 of these, so I get to keep using the cute frames, but I'm gonna go through and just place a few on here. I feel like that one kind of blends in more than I want. I actually think, I didn't think I was going to do this, but I think I'm going with the heart. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, great. So you want to figure out your placement. And I just eyeball this, but feel free to use measurements to get a perfect cutout. Then I take a pencil and I am actually just going to draw right onto the fabric. We're going to be cutting this out. There's plenty of ways to do windows. And you might have wondered why I put the fabric down first, but I knew that I was going to be doing all kinds of different shapes, and wrapping the fabric around like anything but a square can be a little tricky. So this, okay, now I'm just gonna cut this out, but I'm going to cut it out a smidge bigger on the outside of the line that I drew, because if I cut it out exactly where it is, it's not going to have, you might see like the edges a little bit too much, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to use, I have these really pokey scissors just to get my initial hole, and then I will cut this out. And it's so funny, it was hailing and now it's sunny. Okay. I'm gonna have to bring this a little closer to my face because this, take your time on this. You want this to be as precise as you can get it. So, like I said, I'm gonna, if you start to get out of those lines a little too much, just slow down. So I'm gonna just do this the rest of off camera because I want to get it precise, and this probably isn't super fun to watch anyways. Once you have it cut out, just make sure that you're still really happy with it. You can always cut a little bit more if you need. Like, I see a small spot up in this corner, and I don't want to cut too much just because then it's just not going to line up very well. So I will just clean up this little spot. We're not going to glue it down quite yet. We're going to take whatever paper you want to cover the insides. I cut mine down to just a smidge smaller than 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm going to put this one down first because it's going to be so simple. I'm going to take some seam binding. That's what I want to use for my closures. Something dainty, and the color works really well. And I'm just going to eyeball the placement kind of around halfway. That was way too much glue, but that's okay. And I just set this down. And then I'm going to glue down my inside cover. I told you this was simple. Now, of course, we can always add to this journal cover later. But I think it's nice to start with something simple, especially when you're doing something like interactive, like a window. And if it's your first time, it can be overwhelming to have so many steps. So try one new thing at a time. That's my advice if you're trying something new. Okay, I'm later going to dry this with a heavy book so everything will get flattened out, and I'll probably sew around the edges like I mentioned. So for this one, what we're going to do is figure out the placement, okay? Make sure, don't glue it down yet. Then make sure that you're not moving that. Make sure it's exactly where it's going to be. If you need to put some paper clips to hold it in place, go ahead with that. Take your pencil, and for this inside cover, we're going to go ahead, trace the inside shape here with our pencil, because I want this to be a full window. So as you can see on the first one, it goes all the way to the inside. Now you can do a frame and you can just have a pretty design peek through your window. So let me just show you real quick, because you can absolutely just cover this up. In fact, this is even easier. So let's say this was your inside cover. Maybe it's a double-sided paper, or we decorate this later. And you would actually just glue that down, and then your frame. So see, it would just be, so that's another option, and that again makes it so easy. However, for me, I want to have a full-on window so I can change out what I have in that window. Again, just poking a little hole, and then I'm going to just carefully cut this all out. I highly recommend just triple checking to make sure that you are happy with the cutout. So let me kind of show you. Once I get it all lined up, make sure you can't see any pencil marks. I can slightly see the paper, but I don't want to cut it too much smaller, because then it's on the inside, it's going to show the outline. So I try to get it as close as I can. But another thing you can do is use some ink if you want to kind of make the edges all look just, it's not white, you know, it adds to the kind of finished look. So I'm just going to kind of go like that. I'm going to also add some to the inside edges like this, because, you know, we wrapped this with fabric first, so we didn't have the chance to have extra fabric and wrap it around the edges to the inside to have a wrapped look like this. I hope you get what I'm saying. This is like a finished wrapped edge. This is not, and I've made lots of framed journals like this that do have the wrapped fabric, but again, this is the easier route. Okay, now before we glue this down, we're going to take some acetate packaging, anything clear. Of course, you can leave it open, and I think that's actually such a fun look too. So you just decide how you want to finish that off. And I'm just going to get my piece here. I like to use double-sided tape for my acetate. So I'm just going to actually put this around the edges. And then I'll remove the backing, place it down over our hole. Okay, place our acetate down. Grab our other closure. Now I like to just kind of close this to get a nice placement. I didn't add too much glue because I am also going to be sewing around the edge. Then go ahead and add your glue. Now I'm pretty careful when I start adding glue around the frame. I don't want it to ooze out onto that acetate. I really, really don't. But I also want to make sure that it gets nicely sealed. So this is the part where I will smooth it out around the edges. And then before this starts to dry, because it dries so quick, take your time and just try to slowly put this down so that everything is nicely lined up. And I kind of use the edges of the journal as well as a guide. And then just press down everywhere so that everything gets glued down. Last step is to glue on our frame. Oh, it's gonna look so pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to, again, add glue all the way around, but not enough to ooze out. And if you get too much, then just clean that up before you put it down. And this is kind of like the final touch. Oh boy. And this got messy quick. Luckily this glue dries clear. How did my hands get so dirty? Well, that's because I craft like a toddler. Okay, luckily I was able to line that up pretty easy. Okay, I'm still deciding actually if I should sew around the edges. I normally do, but I'm realizing that I sort of like the clean look with this. Well, I'll figure that out. But on this one, if you can see, I put a teeny little bow flat back charm. Love it. So I was thinking of doing that with this one. However, I'm thinking a bow. Maybe it would be too much with the heart shape. I'll put something though. So I am going to open these up. I got these from Amazon. So there are lots of pretty shapes. There's different bow shapes as well. This is where I wish that you guys could give me feedback immediately. Could do a little bow on top. I don't hate it, but I don't think I love it. There's little bears in here. Let's just try a little pearl heart, even though we already have a heart. Ooh, I actually sort of like that more than I thought I would. Except for some reason I can't get it straight to show you guys. I honestly think I might go with that. Well, it is a little bit more dimensional than I was hoping for. Let me just try like a blue little heart that's a little bit thinner. Okay, because there's blue in this, so I was kind of thinking that this might be the one. Yeah, I think so. Although, let me try one more bow. Oh, shoot. You know what? I'm going to go with the bow. Bow or... These are so cute. These are so much fun. But it makes it hard to decide. I'm looking through the lens to see. I like how the bow shows up. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to just use my regular glue. And then we're going to be finished with our journal cover. I'm just going to do a very simple signature of pages. So you will probably see me making these for the next couple weeks, and you'll get to see the final look soon. And once again, if you're interested in grabbing one of these, make sure that you are signed up for February's journal tier for Patreon. I'm going to go check and make sure I have some spots available. I definitely should, at least as of right this minute as filming. And just in case you are new and weren't too sure how my Patreon works, you will get just a journal sent to you, like kind of blind bag style. Like you don't get to pick which one. You're not buying a journal. Just being signed up for the journal tier on Patreon, you get a monthly journal sent to you. They're different every month. You can sign up just for 1 month. You can sign up for 2. You can change tiers as you go along. And you can message me if you have any questions. That's it, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.